So with the recent update, they made some huge changes to the sniper meta. They nerfed the Kar 98 and the Swiss, so they no longer one-shot headshot at unlimited range.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Which opened up room for the HDR and the ZRG to come to the front of the sniper meta. I mean, you probably have already seen all those YouTube videos on your homepage claiming to have found the best sniper in Warzone. Half of them are HDR videos and half of them are ZRG, so now you don't know which one is actually a better sniper because none of them actually show you any stats to back up their claims in their titles. So to save you the pain of figuring it out for yourself, in this video I'm gonna go over all the relevant stats you need to know about both snipers to figure out which sniper is the best or better suited for you. I know some of you out there have shorter attention spans, so I won't make this video too long and just get to the point. Before we dive into the stats, here's the loadout for the HDR that I will be using for the stats, and here is the loadout for the ZRZ. Both of the loadouts are what I mostly saw in those videos that are claiming to have found the meta and are the best loadouts possible that we know right now for both snipers. Let me give you a quick summary. Both snipers are very good and there's not a huge difference where a normal Timmy like you and me could notice in game. But the biggest stat that would actually affect you or you would notice when playing is the ADS time, as the HDR comes in a little bit slower than the ZRZ. But that's not the whole story, so let's take a deep dive into the relevant stats for both snipers. Starting off, let's look at the movement. Since the Kar and the Swiss had amazing movement, so how do these two new kings of snipers stack up? Well, as you can see on the screen, the HDR takes the point as it wins in all three relevant categories. It's just a little bit faster than the ZRZ when it comes to movement with the gun. This is to be expected as the ZRZ is more of a heavier and bulky gun, but they're not that far apart when you look at the numbers. Now let's move on to one of the most important stats. We have the ADS time. For the HDR, the ADS time is 560 milliseconds if you don't have the variable zoom optic equipped. But if you do have it equipped, because some people like super long sniping like me, the ADS time goes up just a little bit by 580 milliseconds. Now when we compare that to the ZRZ, the ADS time for that is 486 milliseconds. This is mostly due to the 6x optic, as without the optic, the ZRZ comes in at 517 milliseconds. So I highly recommend using the Royal and Cross 6x optic as it greatly improves your ADS, and ADS is one of the most important things for a sniper, especially if you like to quick scope and if you like your sniper to be snappy like the Kar 98 and the Swiss. That's another point to the ZRZ. Now let's move on to the bullet velocity, which is another strong stat needed for a sniper to be considered meta. Let's look at the bullet velocity for the HDR first. The HDR velocity comes at 1296 meters per second, which is solid and one of the best in the game since day one of Warzone. Now the ZRZ just beats the HDR when it comes to the velocity, as it comes in at 1321 meters per second. So just a difference of 25, which I think most people probably won't notice in Warzone. But nonetheless, that is another point for the ZRZ. Now lastly, let's look at the damage profiles for the body side by side for both snipers. As you can see, the ZRZ is doing more damage to the limbs and the lower torso than the HDR. This means if you're not hitting your headshots, the ZRZ will help you out a bit more because it's doing more damage to the legs and arms than the HDR. That's another point to the ZRZ, and with that we have a clear winner, which is the ZRZ. The ZRZ is faster in terms of ADS, it does more damage and has a better bullet velocity. The only thing the HDR has going over the ZRZ is the non-ADS speed, like the tac sprint and the sprint speed. With that, we have established that the ZRZ is a better sniper, but that doesn't mean the HDR is a bad sniper at all. It comes in at a close second to the ZRZ, and if you don't have the ZRZ leveled up, then the HDR is definitely a good replacement. This is the same situation as the last meta with the Kar 98 and the Swiss. The Kar was a clear winner, but the Swiss was just a close second. Now that you know which sniper you're gonna be using, it's important that you can see your enemies better. So click this video on the screen to find out the best NVIDIA filters to use in Season 3 of Warzone. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.